man, Lil Boosie. Lil Boosie made this. Shout out to all my people in New Orleans, you know what I'm saying? He was saying some things that a few of you all sort of saw and talked about. We actually sort of put up a poll about it too, and I want to say thank you to everyone who sort of participated.
And that engaged.
Yes, exactly. And basically what happened was that Lil Boosie was talking about how he got his son an experience where his son got oral sex from a young lady, and he then went on to talk about how he got his nephews, who are, and all of these young boys are adolescents too, mind you, right? Like 11, 12, 13, 14.
13, 14,
yeah,
maybe 15.
Yeah, just for clarity. And he was talking about how not only did he get them sort of fixed and taken care of, which means that they got oral sex, but he said, you know, that's the way things are down here.
That
and
he's trying to get them prepared.
Exactly.
Like,
and
prepare for what, Boosie?
Right. And he said that it was better than them seeing cartoons of men kissing each other on TV. Yeah. Oh,
Bruh.
Lord, yeah. No.
Bruh.
Yeah. Oh, Lord, not Boosie, yeah.
Come on, man. Like, Boosie, you're a walking black and mild, sir. Like,
Ooh,
you're a Saharan muskrat looking at, boy. Like, Boosie, we're on your head, sir. Like, that's crazy. It's crazy because, like, not only, like, we talked about this a few weeks ago, how the transphobia and the homophobia jumped out when he addressed Zaya Wade. And it's like he was coming at Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union for their parenting. But, like, we see that you're allowing your son to be raped, because that's what's happened. You're allowing your son to be sexually assaulted, and like that's crazy. It's crazy, Boosie. Like, it's not right. But like, I think we should talk about why it's not right, because I think a lot of people feel like he wasn't in the wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen people like D.L. Hughley, who I have a lot of respect for, and a lot of men don't necessarily see this idea of like, oh, this older woman who's much older than me is having sexual relations with me. It's like, no, I take pride in that, right?
Yeah.
And you don't realize that, like,
it's clout. It's like some social capital. It's like, I'm the man.
Yeah, and like here's the thing, like I can relate on the level that like I've been attracted to older women before. I've had interactions with older women before, right? But mind you, like I was well into my 20s. They were well into maybe their 30s, and it was like two adults. We had our own jobs, our own things, right? These are little kids. These are teenagers. Exactly. Your mind isn't even fully developed, right?
Not even teenagers. Some of them like 13, maybe 14, but it's like, yeah, like your mind's not there and you're being taken advantage of. Like,
right.
Bro, like at 12, 13, I was still playing Pokemon on my DS. I was still like running around the streets with my friends, like playing football, playing basketball, like outside doing kid stuff.
Right.
But it's like, yeah, some people might have been having sex. And a lot of like kids my age, like they thought that was cool. But I would say like a lot of them also like now view sex in a very problematic way. It's a very objectifying experience, right? They see women as kind of a way to masturbate to, like they're just using their body, and that's unhealthy. And I think that starts when you allow like your son to like have like some head at 13, because it's like you don't even get to understand what this experience of sex is.
Exactly, and I think it's very interesting to me because like, it's also very hypocritical, right? So I'm pretty sure Lil Boosie has a daughter, and someone in the comments correct me. But like, could you imagine like Boosie bringing a grown man to like give his daughter head, or saying, hey, look, like, hey girl, you're a grown woman now, like give this little boy head, like
exactly.
It makes no sense.
Exactly, but sex makes you a man, so like that's our conception of man or masculinity. So I think again, it always kind of gets back to like this conversation of like, how do we define what masculinity is? Because he's like, well, I'm getting them ready. I'm getting them prepared. Like, I got them right. But, like, prepare for what? Like, a life as, like, a sexual addict? Like, because I think that, I don't know, like, growing up, like, dudes I know, like, I mean, still dudes I know, like, all they really do is talk about sex. Like, I be kicking it with them, like, but that's really all our conversations kind of stem around. It's like, who they trying to get at, who bad, who not. And I think a good conversation to have is, like, how men view sex work, right? So this is some sex work that like Boosie approves of, because it's like they are satisfying these young boys. But like niggas hate to talk about OnlyFans. They hate women's OnlyFans, and that's like, it's crazy. Like, y'all like sex work when it's for men, not women.
Right.
And it's crazy.
Yeah, and it's really wild in that sense, because it's like with Boosie and his sons. The thing that troubles me about it is he said something like, "That's just the way things are around here, right?"
Yeah.
And I sort of feel for Boosie, not because I agree with him, but because I wonder what has been normalized in his life. I wonder like what was happening to him when he was a younger age, and how it was normalized. Like, were you getting head at 11, 10, 9, something sooner, and being told, hey, like, this is the way it's supposed to be, and you should take pride in this, versus, nah, you were sort of like, you were not even sort of, you were assaulted.
Yeah.
You were maybe you were molested. Like maybe an older woman took interest in you, and or you had someone in your family who forced it upon you in an effort to make sure you weren't gay, or like make sure you were a man, right? Yeah. And so it's crazy. And tonight I think and Kiera was saying how like that's rape.
That's rape.
And tonight, to your point, she was talking about that double standards you mentioned, right?
Yeah.
So I think. Especially as men, and especially as black men, we have to really start to reconsider like what's cool and what's considered like a vibe, or like what it means to be a man that's sort of commendable, or who has stripes. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like having sex with a woman who's like twice your age when you're like 10 or 11, like that's abuse.
It is.
And it's okay for that to be abuse and for you to acknowledge that.
Exactly, because it has some long-term implications.
Right.
And like you might not know that now, but like later you probably will. The way you view and understand sex, it will be impacted by this. And it's like, that's probably where Boosie is right now. Because it's like, there's a lot of young black men that have been taken advantage of at a younger age, and they think it's okay. Like, I was having this conversation with somebody online, and they were talking about how, they was messing with their babysitter when they was young.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, your babysitter it wasn't a grown woman, because I think that's a big point to point out.
Yeah.
But they were still older than you, and they still took advantage of you. And it's like, we got to have that conversation. But I think men like to think that is soft, and that is weak, and that is not masculine.
Right.
And like to turn down sex is to be gay or something like that. And I think I've heard things like this. So it's like, we don't have a real conception or a healthy conception of like sexual health.
Right, exactly. And I think that we have to start having more conversations on how to sort of like break down these notions. Like, I have a friend that he doesn't like to be touched, and like he made like jokes about like how him and his babysitter would like watch like dirty movies, and it's like I wasn't even registering it in my mind, but it's like, oh man, like
he might not have been.
Right. So and I think that this notion, especially around black men who have sort of our masculinity and our manhood sort of stripped from us, from society, right? From a racist society, we have this thing where it's like, okay, it's been stripped from us, and we feel like we have to defend it, right?
Yeah.
So we have to like hold on to it in any way, shape, or form.
And define it, very physically and very socially and very like visibly, right?
Exactly.
And it's like, oh, if I'm getting head at 10 and I'm a man, like.
It's like, no. And it's like, and this is why black men who are assaulted might feel less inclined to like actually like speak up and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Right. So look, Boosie, here's the thing, man. I believe that you've probably been through something too. I feel like New Orleans, and not New Orleans as because of the city, but just a lot of the state that people in, you've probably been through some stuff yourself. Yeah. But I'm going to tell you something, brother. I don't care about cartoons and like two men kissing on a cartoon. I care about what you're doing with your son, and you're hurting your son.
Yes.
Right? And so you gotta like you gotta rectify that, brother. And so we gotta roast you, but we're also concerned for you, brother, because
it's coming from love.
Yeah, it's coming from love. It's coming from love, because you're doing something that I don't even think you recognize. Like, this stuff isn't normal, y'all. This stuff isn't normal.
Yes.
It's that is not what makes you a man. You can't pay your bills with abuse. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh.
You can't take care of your family with abuse. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
What are y'all thinking?
Yes.
So like, if you have a son, or if you got a homeboy, like, you gotta remember, having sex with someone who's twice your age or 3 times your age when you were a little kid, like, that's not the move.
Talk that talk.
You know what I'm saying?
Talk that talk.
Jesus.
Light roast.
Oh my gosh.
Boosie, who's on your head, bro? But it's coming from love. We understand. We've been around. We've probably felt that way before.
Yeah.
I think at 13, I was like, oh shit, sex might be the thing that like that makes me, right? I remember like all of my friends were talking about the first time they would have sex and all of this, and it's like that's what you think that you need at that age, and it's like maybe his son did enjoy it, like. Who to say he didn't? But like that's not the conversation. We're talking about the larger implications of it.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the major conversations we have to have.
Yeah, and let's be clear, right? Like it's so if you're 11, 12-year-old or 12-year-old, it's cool to have like a crush on a 13-year-old and like maybe kiss a 13-year-old or something like that. But like you're talking about grown women who are like sex workers who are like, yo, I'm gonna get your son, like let me take your son down, like, and like you have to look out because we protection for like young black boys looks different than that. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like, come on now. But yeah, we gonna get off Boosie. That's crazy though, man. Oh, actually, hold on, one more thing too.
Okay.
I really didn't appreciate how he sort of said, I'd rather do this than like have my sons watching two men on TV kiss who are cartoons. And I was just like, so like, huh? So like
people really buy into like the stuff that you see on TV makes you a certain way. Okay, cool. So I'm confused. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me.
It doesn't. And it's funny because it's like,
but we gonna expose them to rape?
Yeah.
Like, huh?
Yeah. No, it's
this hyper masculinity, like hypersexuality, like
yeah, and it's super harmful. And like let's like, be honest about this too, right? Like nothing is going to, like, your child is who your child is, right? Right? If you're LGBTQIA, you've had heterosexual people around you your whole life. It doesn't make you heterosexual.
Absolutely.
Right? If you're LGBTQIA, you're LGBTQIA.
It's not a choice.
Right?
It's not a choice.
Yeah. Maybe he's afraid that his son will actually grow up to be accepting and loving of people. And maybe he doesn't feel like that's what his son deserves.
Yeah, beautiful child like Zaya Wade, like.
Yeah, like I don't understand that nonsense, right? And I think that yo, shout out to Kenny's on here. He shared something on Facebook that I saw. It was he was talking about how like, and you mentioned this too, that how like people give Gabrielle Union a lot of heat for like supporting Zaya, right?
Yes.
But then like some of those same people don't come at Boosie for like giving his son, giving his son that opportunity, right?
I think
like,
somebody even commented on our thing. It was like they don't see nothing wrong with it. Like, it was a parent choice, and we shouldn't critique a parent choice.
Exactly. Yeah. Yo, look. So we had someone come up in our DMs and like shout out to them. I hope they come on live because we definitely want to hear their thoughts. But they said, look, if that action took place under parents' control and was not on the street or other inappropriate place, and both sides are happy, why is it an issue? Right? So it's like, I think it still sort of counts as abuse, and I think that sometimes that
child abuse.
Yeah, and it's like children can be like happy with something and not know that they're being abused.
Absolutely.
Right? And people fall in love with their abusers. To be honest, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I think that's a conversation too. So I think that just because someone is happy, like a 3-year-old could be happy with you playing around with them. But like if you touch them in certain places and they laugh and giggle, it's not because it's right.
Yeah.
It's because they don't understand what's going on. They don't understand that like you as an older person shouldn't be targeting me as a child.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And so I would say that. And when we said, child services should come and get Boosie's son, he was just like, no one has any right to like mess with like a family's actions. And I'm just like,
yeah, he called it BS, and it's like,
no, it's not BS.
Yeah, no, like that's what child services is for.